So I'm currently on my way to France. Everything got in order so quickly, but I have something very exciting to share with you. Currently reading my thrifted copy of American Psycho, and low-key, reading this book in public feels illegal. I am so uncomfortable. But can we appreciate that in French trains the sign for food and drink is wine and what looks like lasagna? In Denmark it's a beer bottle and a sausage, and I think that is incredibly telling. And now we've arrived. I made it. And I'm so tired now. Let's go find a hotel. Found my hotel room. I am so tired. I am looking forward to stretching my legs, and I found a ramen place that I really want to go to. And Matilda is here with me, so we're gonna see if we can go and find her. She's also at the hotel. Oh, you can just hear the tram. Oh, is this gonna be all night? Delightful. So I'm just rambling now, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Anyway, we're gonna go and find some food now, and then I'm gonna call it an early night. I am here with a large group of content creators and journalists, and there is a WhatsApp group, and I've been trying to keep updated on what's happening, and then people are meeting up for drinks and dinner, and I'm just overstimulated and constantly contemplating if that makes me come off as antisocial or arrogant. I don't want that to be the case. So hopefully I'll make a really good impression tomorrow. Also, shout out to the person in the apartment across the street for their Greenpeace banner right there. Cool. I do love the buildings though. I found Matilda. Hello there. We just had dinner and we're both really tired. Also, the restaurant was playing pop music really loudly, like Rihanna really, really loudly.
Yeah, on top of our heads.
And
it was a nice trip. It went quite well for me. I took 2 trains and I had to switch. It was really tight, the last one. I almost didn't make it, but I had to run down the stairs and I made it, yeah.
We're gonna go in a supermarket. It's so much fun to see like supermarkets elsewhere. And then we're gonna go back to the hotel and relax.
Yeah, I think we need that, yeah.
Yeah, I need a shower. So we already lost our way. But that's okay, because the buildings here are gorgeous. So we're walking and figuring it out. I don't lie when I say that looking at groceries in other countries is one of my favorite things to do. And in French supermarkets, I'm always so envious of all the package-free produce. I also like to look at what vegan options are available. Here we have tons of things that I've never seen before, but I don't have a kitchen in the hotel, so sadly I couldn't try any of it. Officially not travel gross anymore now. Let's go and meet the others for breakfast. So what am I doing here? Okay, let me explain. I have been invited to the EU Parliament a few times. So far only in Brussels, so I was excited to see how things work in Strasbourg. When I'm invited here, I'm not required to promote anything. I'm not required to film or do anything, but if I want to, I can. I want to provide a glimpse into the machine room of the EU, not in a romanticized way, because I have my own criticisms and there are plenty of things I think and wish were done differently. Nevertheless, I wholeheartedly believe that we're better off with the EU than without it. And while the legislation that comes from the decisions down here might seem really far away for a lot of people, they have direct impact on millions of people's lives. Environmental legislation, which is my main topic of interest, can also be a lot more effective with organizations like the EU. So I'm here to understand what's happening and what we can do to be better. If you're wondering, no, the plant-based meals in Parliament were not world-class innovation, but at least I was fed. We're going to meet a member of Parliament and a former commissioner. Between 2019 and 2024, he was Commissioner of Environment, Oceans and Fisheries. And as luck will have it, I'll be documenting plastic pollution with a documentary crew for the next 2 years. So I had one specific question in mind. My name is Gita Marie. I do content and public speaking about sustainability. And this year and the next 2 years, I'm working with a documentary crew where we document plastic pollution, especially so in the Baltic. And I would love to hear what can be done beyond voluntary basis operations to minimize or reduce plastic pollution, and especially so from ghost gear.
Ghost gear and lost gear, of course, is one of the sources of pollution, but there are others. First of all, when you talk about pollution, for example, plastic one, you need to focus on how to ensure that it does not happen in the first place. So you have to prevent it before it even happens. And packaging is one of the key aspects. We tried very hard with the packaging directive to ensure the sustainability of packaging. In my opinion, for example, member states should have a deposit system. We always focus on plastic as a product, but of course we know that, for example, fossil fuel industry, in particular oil industry, is very much interested in continuous plastic production, and it's a great material. Don't get me wrong. Unfortunately, the way it's used, it's unsustainable and it's choking our seas. So I think the most important here is, you can focus on fishing gear or lost fishing gear. We usually actually register it, and actually fishermen, they are fined in some member states if they don't register loss of their fishing gear. Most of the cases that happens as an accident. It's not that they want to lose that gear. Usually fishers, they do care about the sea. The bigger problem I see is the unsustainable consumption of many goods that comes in the packaging. Another issue is microplastic.
I wonder if anyone told the former commissioner that ghost gear makes up a massive part of global plastic pollution. We went back and forth for a while here, and while the others that asked questions got a handshake and a greeting afterwards, I didn't. So I guess I didn't ask the right questions. Anyway, I regret nothing, and I actually think that the dismissive reply spoke volumes as to the fishing industry's lack of proper accountability. So much of what's being done is mandatory for the industry. In many member states, they can just choose to not participate in the waste-reducing initiatives. So overall, I just wish the bar was higher. Hello from the bathroom. It's by far the best lighting I could find. And the sound is okay as well. I just had a quick change, and now I'm going out to dinner with the others. I have had such an intense day. We've met several MEPs, and a lot of this has been really thought-provoking. It's not all for me, and I'm aware of that fact, but a lot of it I can use in different kinds of ways. A lot of the meetings we cannot record, but hopefully I'll be able to record a little bit more tomorrow. I did get to ask a former commissioner about ghost gear and plastic pollution, and his reply was dissatisfying because I asked about ghost gear and plastic waste specifically left by the fishing industry, and he instantly started talking about consumer plastic. And while that is one issue, this is another issue. I feel like we can have both of these conversations, but not in reply to each other, if that makes any sense. I asked if there's anything specific we can do to reduce this type of plastic, and then he started talking about another type of plastic, and also talked about, well, the fossil fuel industry is to blame for all of this as well. And I absolutely 100% agree. It just felt that the answer didn't really quite match with what I was actually asking. It was perhaps in the neighborhood of whataboutism, because when you ask someone about ghost gear and the reply is to not really acknowledge that it exists, he also made a claim that ghost gear isn't left behind as much as it's all accidentally lost. Something to be desired. Let's go to the restaurant. It's this coat. It's the noisiest coat of all time, but it's damn cute. I usually had dinner at 6, so this 10 o'clock dinner had my little Danish body thrown for a loop. However, the food was really good and the company was 10 out of 10. Oh, the bread! Oh! In the morning, the lobby had totally spies running, casually. Big fan. So it's always busy in the EU, it's always busy in the parliament, but today it's a little bit more busy than usual because today the new commission is going to be instated and we're gonna see that. We're also gonna talk to some representatives, so let's go. Today the parliament is voting for or against the new commission, and after strict instructions we were allowed to witness it and film it, but no selfies. To the left, to the left. Is this a selfie? Let's go. We're in. Use the hacker voice here, but we're in. This is the hemicircle where all the members of parliament vote. There's the commission, the head of the commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and the president, Roberta Metsola. Before voting, representatives spoke their mind about the new commission. Some were really supportive and others were really against. The reason why some members of parliament were against is because the new commission is working closely with some very right-wing interests, which support this very conservative movement that's happening in Europe as well as the rest of the world, which I fear will pull back a lot of the rights for LGBTQ+ people, environmental policies, abortion rights, and overall progressive green resilience. I got to meet the head of the commission and the president afterwards. It was very chaotic and it was over before it even began. And I wish I had more time because I would have loved to ask them some questions. The EU stands on the several genocides that's happening currently, for one, because they are directly benefiting from EU resources. My heart breaks every day for Gaza, for Congo, for Afghanistan, and everywhere else where people's rights are taken from them. And I wish these representatives would stand against it and deliver concrete action to end it. There are many Danish representatives here, as there are from all the EU countries, but we are getting a chance to talk to 2 Danish politicians. I have a lot of questions that I want to ask them. What are your predictions for environmental and climate policies and initiatives for the next 5 years? That's a big question, I know.
Well, generally, I think it's going to be really, really hard to push for the green agenda. I think it's going to be a bit easier on climate because it goes into discussion on energy policy, that we shouldn't be dependent on Russian gas, that the companies need low energy prices, and that we also have green energy companies in Europe. On the environmental side, it's going to be much more difficult because you can't capitalize the environmental policies in the same way. So anything related to biodiversity, nature, oceans, water is going to be super difficult, and in case we get it, it's going to be with a focus on profits for businesses and less on profits for the planet.
What is going to happen to make it more accessible to use green transportation?
Well, one of the things that the Green Group got from the Commission, which we are very happy about, was a directive on passenger rights and also ensuring that you will have one portal where you can buy different train tickets. And of course you need to be sure if you reach the German border and the German train stops and you miss your connection in France that you can actually get it reimbursed. Something else that I think we might make some progress on is also to taxing aviation, because today the trains are taxed for their emissions but the aviation systems is not. The Commission wants to do it on a global level and prefer not to do it at an EU level first, but I think we will see some progress there.
Perfect, that's a banger. My talk with Kira gave me a little more insight into what we can expect from the new Commission, both the positive and the negative. Then I grabbed lunch before my next meeting, where I was very amused by the vegan dessert and how much love was poured into making this. Next up, I met up with another Danish MEP for a chat about COP29, which I just did a video on, and she attended, so I was curious about her experience. So you were also recently at COP29. Can you tell me a little bit about the experience and whether or not you thought of the COP as successful?
No, I think it's hard to see the COP29 as a success. I'm not managing to reach the ambition, both in terms of keeping the average global warming below 1.5 degrees as previously agreed. That's not the course we're on right now. We are actually exceeding the 1.5. We can also see that the need for more climate finance, which was the big topic of this COP, is way higher than what the countries managed to agree on. They managed to agree on $300 billion from 2025, which is good. Of course, $300 billion makes an impact. It's not even half of the actual need, both climate mitigation, but also climate adaptation. I met some of the island states, some of those small states that are really, really concerned with the rising sea levels, because they live in areas that will be flooded and they will not be able to live in their homes in just 5 or 10 years if we continue on this path. The challenge is just growing bigger and bigger. It's not going to be easier if we wait until next year or the year after that. Quite the opposite, and that worries me a lot.
So reparations was a big part of this COP, and countries especially so impacted by the effects of climate change are to receive funding to repair and become more resilient in terms of climate change. But what countries constitute as qualified for this type of aid has changed a lot since the 90s. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so something that really shocked me was how big industrialized countries like China, a country that has a space program, are still insisting on being considered as a developing countries that should not be obligated to contribute financially. I'm really concerned with the inequality in the distribution of who contributes and who receives.
Well, disappointed but not surprised is an accurate description of how I was feeling after hearing about Syria's experience at the COP. However, you would think that I would be leaving the parliament overall discouraged and frustrated, because there are so many reasons to feel that way for sure, but I was hopeful because I know for a fact that there are people in there working their ass off for the planet and for the people. This visit made it even more so glaringly obvious how much our votes matter, and hopefully now you know as well. We are now leaving the parliament for the last time, and
and I'm ready to go home.
The look is impeccable, but we also just went around the Christmas market and this was so festive. It was also an overconsumption fest, but even with that perspective, I can still appreciate some good Christmas lights, and these were amazing. Anyway, yeah, I can still appreciate them. Although I do like the warm yellow lights way more. Any kind of like white or even blue tinted lights, not for me. No. Warm and yellow.
On my way home now, and just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any comments, critiques, feedback, anything of the sort, leave them in the comments down below and let me know what you thought of this video. And if you have any questions, concerns, etc., share them with the group. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and I will see you guys next time. Take really good care of yourselves. Until then, bye.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green, zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!